This is the big reason we really can't find solutions to our problems. And I'm sure you've had experiences like this, looking back, where suddenly it just hits you, you find the solution, and you're like, why didn't I think of that sooner? Anyone ever have that experience? Right? Or even in terms of personal growth, you're like, oh, wow, it's way easier looking back. Why couldn't I just do that sooner? What was wrong with me? Why didn't I see that? It was so obvious. Right? Or even different opportunities around you where you're like blind to them for the longest time, and then, oh, I never saw that before. Whoa. This happens all the time. Still happens to me, happens to everyone. We all have blind spots. No one is immune to it. This here is the scariest part, by the way, of self-sabotage. We think that self-sabotage is scary because we look at the self-sabotage that we catch, right? We're aware of like, oh, I messed that up. I screwed that up. Oh, why did I do that? I self-sabotaged. We only catch a very small amount. Most of self-sabotage, you're not even aware that you're doing it. You're not even aware that it's happening. And when you bring your awareness to that, it's freaky. Okay, here's a very simple example to illustrate this. If you take a compliment, say you take 3 people, one with very low self-esteem, one with mid-level self-esteem, one with high self-esteem. Each person, you say the same compliment. Let's just say, nice shirt, nice shirt, nice shirt. Person with low self-esteem, they're not going to even see it as a compliment. You know what they're going to see? A sarcastic diss. It's like, oh, they're making fun of my shirt. See that? Right? Even though it's a compliment. Someone at a mid-level, they'll see the compliment, but they'll have to deflect. Similar to the look into your eyes with the laughter. It's like, oh, this shirt, oh, it's nothing. Like that. Someone at a high level will be like, oh, nice shirt, thank you. They'll let it land. Take that person at the bottom who didn't even see it as a compliment. That happens with opportunities. All around you, and you don't even see them. And this is one thing I hear a lot with people who start really working on themselves is, whoa, there's just more and more opportunities. I can't believe it. It's like weird. Is something magic happening? I'm like, nah, you're just dissolving these blind spots that you previously had. Okay? Another good perspective to help bring some awareness to this is imagine someone else other than you was transported in your body right now. Let's just say someone you look up to in your body. Would they do better than you? Right? Take that situation. Someone you look up to, transport in your body. They're now sitting here in this chair, same physical circumstances as you, same challenges, same situation, same friends, same financial situation. Give them a year. Would they do better than you? Yes? No?
Always.
Yes. Why? Not because they're a better person, but simply because they don't have the same conditioning you have. They haven't gone through the same things you have. They don't have the same excuses, same trauma, same thing from the past. It's like a set of fresh eyes, and they're going to see things that you don't see. And you have to let this land. There are things that you don't see. Look up and really read up in detail on this thing called RAS, Reticular Activating System. Okay, this is your selective focus. Right now in this room, there's just so much information, so much data, you're not picking up on all of it. What are you looking at? Me. What I'm saying, for the most part. Did you look in detail, for example, at everyone around you? Did you look in detail at the rug, the floor, and everything? No. Doesn't have that much value. And this is where your comfort zone gets you. Your comfort zone will hijack your focus, and it will only tune into things that has value, not to what you want, but to your comfort zone. Here's the other scary part. Just like that compliment, you will distort things. Okay, I first realized this back in 2011, I believe. It was in Amsterdam. Flew there, and it was my first, big solo live event in Europe. And I had a client who we went out and worked on just basic social skills. And this person was talking to people, and they were loving him. Like, he was having a blast. Everyone was having fun. Tons of smiles. Great time. And then we sit down, and I was like, well, that was really fun, right? And he looks at me very seriously, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, did I say or do something wrong? And he's like, that was terrible. Everyone hated me. I was like, what are you talking about? They loved you. He's like, they all hated me. He couldn't even see the smiles. It was crazy. He couldn't even see it. Everyone just smiling, loving this person, interpreted as there are no smiles. This also can be quite freaky because it's easy to think that, hey, if I just go out and get a lot of reference experiences, I'll naturally feel more confident and better about myself, right? Well, no, not if your RAS gets in the way. Not if you interpret all those references in a negative way. That's the low person, right? Interpret it in a bad way. No one liked me. But then there are a lot of people on the middle ground, right? They see the compliment, but they can't let it land. So they might see a smile, but then what do? Instead of giving themselves credit, like, that was awesome, yes. They're like, oh, well, they smiled because they probably have their own issues going on. Or, oh, they smiled because you were there next to me. So they take away the win. They come up with some excuse for some reason. Oh, they smiled, but it was probably just out of pity or politeness. They didn't really have fun. They were just trying to be polite to not make me feel bad. That's not going to help you if you get those references, right? Another crazy one too is, I'm sure you've experienced this, where you walk into a new environment, even say this environment here, right? Take your experience at first, walking in, like, who here came alone? You don't even know anyone here. Cool, right? A lot. So when you come in here, this environment at first, and this is most people due to our conditioning, we tend to filter it through, okay, where do I stand? You know, it's a little bit scary. It's like, okay, where's everyone? Who are these people? Okay, can I say hi to them? Ooh. It's a very different experience than, say, right now. Right now, you probably feel a lot more comfortable than at the very beginning. Same environment, same people. What changed? Your perception. Right? Why don't you just feel this way all the time? Why don't you just walk into an environment and, everyone's like me, we're on the same team. Instead of being in this competitive state, it's a collaborative state. Comfortable, hey, how's it going? So with this here, you can really see how, again, your comfort zone, your conditioning, hijacks your focus and really keeps you trapped in this prison, right? It keeps you trapped in this box. And we have blind spots to anything that's outside the box. And there's the cliche saying, if you want to succeed, you got to think outside the box. You want to find the solutions to your problem, you got to think outside and find those solutions, because your RAS will not allow you. Now that brings in the next question, well, how? Right? If I have blind spots, how do I see those solutions? First thing, ask for help, ask for feedback, ask for advice, but do not ask your friends or family. Why? Why do you think? Number one, they might be in the same comfort zone as you, right? If you're at this level, let's just say a general level, chances are you've attracted other people who are at that level. That's why you connect. So they're going to have the same limitations as you. But not just that. That's just one part. The big one is, they're not going to give it to you straight. Right? Guaranteed right now, there are friends in your life, or even family members, where you look at their situation and you have amazing advice for them. Like, if you actually sat them down, you could just tell them, like, hey, do this, fix this, what's that? Like, just give it to them straight. Give it to them raw. But what happens if you do that?
Too lazy to go to the campus.
No, it's just going to create a lot of fighting. You're going to alienate them. There's going to be a lot of fighting. They're probably going to get upset and mad, and it's going to take a hit on that relationship. Now, you know that. They know that too. And this is why a lot of family members and friends, we just kind of all bury our heads in the sand and just be like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. We actually don't just say the truth. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, right? Not everyone's, say, ready to hear the truth, right? There are friends that I have or family members where they say something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm not going to say, well, did you know that with letting go, like, I won't say that. But if they do ask me, I will. But a lot of them, assume the same about you. And even if you do ask them, they're going to be too scared to tell you the truth because they don't want to alienate you. They'll just be like, oh, just give it time. Time will solve it. Or they'll read some motivational quote off Instagram and just read that to you. If you just believe it, you can dream it. Just give it a bit more time and you'll dream more of it. You're like, okay, right? So don't necessarily ask them, okay? Also, even unconsciously, this can get quite interesting. They might not even want to tell you the truth, because if you do start succeeding or moving up, it will make them feel bad about themselves. Huge. And you also see this when you do start really changing at a core, there will be some disruption in your life. That's normal, right? People tend, catch this by the way, don't forget this point. People tend to progress, and then there is some friction in their lives. They're like, oh, I kind of don't resonate with what I used to do anymore. My habits changed. My friends suddenly are reacting differently. Oh, some friends, they don't even like me that much anymore. That chaos, that's part of changing. If you're disrupting the status quo, you're going to see disruption. Now, on the flip side, this could also be misinterpreted where you're just creating tons of chaos and alienating everyone, so be smart. But there will be some friction. And think of it like this, too. Imagine that, let's just take a situation. Let's just say all of us here, we are all just broke, super broke, and we just look around and everyone else is broke, and we're like, well, okay, we can all be happy together being broke. We have the same excuses, same amount of money, which is almost nothing. And let's just say someone, you with a smile, let's just say he starts working on his finances. And suddenly, he starts making a little bit more than all of us here. What's going to happen? Are we going to be like, yes, you go make more? Right? Let's just say we are used to watching Netflix all day. We're watching Netflix and we look over and we see him on the computer just working away. Is that going to add to the fun of watching Netflix, or is it going to make us feel a little bit bad about ourselves? Right? Are we going to be like, hey, keep on working, or are we going to tell him, just close the computer, there's another episode. Come watch Netflix. You don't need all that, do you? Just come watch Netflix. And it's not because we don't like him, it's because what it does to us. We're like, hey, if he's like us, and he was making the exact same amount as us for this long, if he starts making more, that means I could be making more. And now I can't feel as bad about not doing anything. I mean, I can't feel as good about not doing anything, right? So that will happen with your friends. They're going to see you start moving up, and it's going to shine this spotlight on the fact that they aren't. And they're not going to be very happy about that. Consciously, yes, they're still going to like you. You're their friend or family member. But unconsciously, it's going to trigger a lot in them. Now, classic self-help, everyone's like, just cut them out of your life. Once more, there's more to a person than self-help. This doesn't mean cut them out of your life. In reality, have a lot of empathy for them, right? That's what I do. When I see people like that, because it happens, and it will still happen as you keep on growing. But have empathy. Don't be like, oh, why are they not happy for me? Just be like, oh, I do realize that I am shining this light on this shortcoming. I'm sorry, right? You will have to perhaps limit how much time you spend with them, but you don't necessarily have to cut them all off, okay? But there will be some of that friction. It's the old crabs in a bucket. One tries to climb up, everyone pulls them right back down. So back to my point, don't ask your friends or family, okay? Ask someone who is ahead of where you want to go, or who has accomplished what you want to accomplish. Now, this isn't universal. This goes back to what your win is. Depending on your win, you're going to have to ask this person or that person. That depends on you, what you're trying to accomplish, what your goal is. But ask someone. Ask someone, and ask someone who can really give it to you straight. And no joke, the best way that I found is as you start moving up, you'll meet people who will naturally do it. But at first, I would pay people. I know it's a polarizing thing to say, but I would pay them for two reasons. One, for what it does for me. You can remember this, the amount that, say, you invest, like investment equals receptivity on your end. Investment equals receptivity. What does that mean? If there's skin in the game, you will be much more willing and open to receiving advice that will challenge you and most likely trigger you. True advice, life-changing advice, is not fun to hear, by the way. It's very uncomfortable to hear. None of us really want to hear it. If it's easier, like, oh, that sounds like fun, I'll do that, then that's not the real advice you need to be hearing. That might improve a little bit, but that's not the one thing. Okay? We love, for example, doing this thing called productive procrastination, right? Where it seems like we're being productive, but we're actually staying stuck. We do that in all aspects, even in terms of personal growth. So we love advice that will keep us, be a little bit productive, but not too much. And we also love advice that touches on problems that we don't have or don't have yet. This is why, if you hear some advice in some videos, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, but my friend totally has that. I'll have people ask me that, Julien, so I have this friend and they're dealing with this and da-da-da. So it's like other people's problems or future problems, right? Here's an example. Say someone's like, you know what, I'm gonna start working on my health. I'm gonna start going to the gym. What's the immediate thing to do? Go to the gym. But what do people do? First, though, let me start looking up all the different workout techniques and what's the best equipment and the workout clothes and what kind of protein powder. Let me do all the protein powder research to compare the protein powders, et cetera, et cetera. Is all that valid? Sure. But that's a problem you don't have yet. Start going to the gym first, then do that. And that's what people do with, say, advice. They hear advice like, oh, that sounds good. I'll do that then. Right? Or the new, 2020, 2021 craze. Everyone wants to be a trader. All right? So what do? It's like, oh, I want to trade, but first let me look up the best programs and let me get all my screens and da-da-da. It's like, that's what people do. Right? Now, going back to that point, real advice really stings. Most people, say even at an event like this, which is, say, free, you would not be willing to hear real advice. A lot of you would actually walk out. Or if there was an exercise that would really bring up a lot, you'd walk out. You'd be like, I'm good. Guaranteed. I've seen it for years. Again, I've been teaching this for over 10 years, right? So there's different things that I can say, different things that I can do, different exercises we can do, depending on how much skin in the game. Otherwise, it just goes to waste and people run away, okay? So that's the big one. And the other one, too, is not just the receptivity, that's reason one, but reason two, you want to show the person, be like, hey, I'm not here to be your friend. Here's the money. Tell me. Just full on objective, just tell me, go. I'm serious, go. So this doesn't mean go over the board now, like I said, like suddenly everyone is just throwing all your money away. Be smart about it, obviously. Link it to your ideal life. Link it to your core values, okay? But it can be very helpful to do that. And then also surrounding yourself with time as you grow with people who just give it to you straight, okay? For example, Owen and I, we give it to each other straight. We give it to each other raw. As raw as it gets. As raw, as hard, as straight as it gets, okay? And it's not always comfortable. But then you can also have those situations where, say you sit down with a friend and, say it's a situation like your friend's really working on himself too, or herself, and you just like sit them down and you're like, listen, friend, every week or every month, let's just sit down and give each other honest feedback. And then you create actually a safe environment where you can actually just lay it into them and they can lay it into you. But there has to be that mutual agreement first. So you have to create that situation. Otherwise, it'll destroy a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships. Okay, not everyone's going to be okay with that. Or you could just say, hey, I won't even tell you, just give it to me, and give them full permission. It won't be comfortable, but it will change you. It'll change your life. And if it really stings, if it's that thing you just want to change the topic, not even think of or talk about, that's what you got to work on. That's what you got to focus on. Okay? So this is huge. That's one. What's another way? Learning how to let go. The more you let go, what happens? The less that comfort zone hijacks your focus. The more you let go, the more the blind spots start dissipating. That there is truly getting at the cause. What's another way? Surrounding yourself, not just getting the harsh feedback, but also spending time with people who are ahead of you. And then their view of reality, just by proximity, will rub off on yours. This isn't permanent, but it works. What's another way? Using what we call a seminar high. What's a seminar high? You're probably experiencing it right now, right? And it builds up through the event, and then at the end, right, this is the classic self-help seminar, everyone's like, yeah, we are, and then they leave and they're on this high, right? This knowledge content high. Now the mistake people make is they think that that's the result, and they try to maintain it. A seminar high, you're always going to come down. You'll never maintain that. This good feeling here, nope. You might come down in an hour or so, a day or so, a week or so, maybe even a couple weeks. But eventually, you're going to find yourself right back down to where you first started, back to your comfort zone. Audit your day-to-day life prior to this event. What were the thoughts you had? The activities, the habits. You're going to find your way right back to that, and this will seem like a distant memory, a distant dream. All you'll remember is a bit of what the room looked like, the speaker, maybe an idea or so, but that's it. Just think of even right now. We've been talking for a while. Do you remember everything we talked about even 20 minutes ago? Right? So we forget so fast. So it will be a distant memory. That's fine, okay? But in those moments where you do get those seminar highs or knowledge highs, and an effective teacher will create that in someone, right? What's going on? It's breaking you out of your go-to paradigm and bringing you a little bit higher so you have this new perspective, this altitude above that little box that you're trapped in. That's what a seminar high is. It's temporarily bringing you up. You see things differently. You see things in a new light. You have epiphanies. And then eventually you'll find your way back to that. The key is celebrate it and enjoy it, but more importantly, take note of the difference. Take note of the information that you see when you're up here. Looking at your life, at your situation from this new perspective. What's different? And more importantly, what are some things that you can do or write down or commit to so that when you go back to your comfort zone, there are certain boundaries in place so you can't keep going down that same road. That's how you use the seminar high. And again, it's sad to see the majority of self-help people just celebrating these highs instead of viewing them as, oh, altitude, perspective, take information, place boundaries, so when they fall back, they're in a better situation. Okay? But those ways, those are just some of them. There are many. Start bringing your awareness to them and start practicing them. Okay? A seminar high too, by the way, doesn't just have to be in person. You can also do it online. You can even experience it after watching, say, a crazy video on YouTube. I would actually suggest, by the way, I know it's harder. Nowadays we're conditioned to be a lot more ADD, but I would suggest, if you haven't, to sit through at least, say, a 30-minute video on YouTube. Even an hour, right? Owen and I will put out some longer videos, for example, sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you actually commit to sitting down and watching that, not having other tabs open on your browsers, not going on your phone and texting at the same time, but really locking in, you'll get some of that same experience. However, it takes a lot to do, and your comfort zone will pull you away from it. It's crazy, too, by the way, on the other side of things, when we look into, say, the YouTube stats, how you just see the actual drop-off. Like, people are like 30 seconds or a minute, drop-off. Or like 5 minutes, and it's like, you just know browsers are open. It's like, let me just see what the backdrop is. Oh, what are they wearing? Okay, cool, next. Right? It's to a point where, even at this point, Instagram stories or TikTok is already too long. Like, how often you skip through the 10, 15-second story, you're like, 10 seconds is too long, next. We just like 1, 2 second, 1, 2 second, 1, 2 second. Be careful of that. Okay? That's not enough time to gain any kind of altitude, any kind of new perspective. And you're not actually taking that information to learn, you're just looking for entertainment. Imagine you paid $10,000 for that YouTube video. Would you have other tabs open? Would you be on your phone texting? No, you'd be locked in, and the more important part is not just locked in, but you'd be thinking, how can I get an ROI? How can I get a return on my investment? How am I going to use this information to make that 10K back? And you should filter all information through that. Am I going to act on this? When am I going to act on this? How does this apply to my life? Everyone would also do a lot better with less knowledge, but more depth to that knowledge than so much knowledge just consumed at such a surface level. Right? It's the same as speed reading, which is a little bit less popular now, but there was a phase a few years ago in the whole Tai Lopez era where everyone was about speed reading. Right? Anyone remember that era? Yeah? It's like book a day, and everyone was reading and bragging about how many books they read. And I think that's great. Definitely read. It'll enhance your life like crazy. But the problem is you'd see people trying to rush through these books, and the win and the value that they would get from these books is checking them off at the end. Book completed, next book completed, yes. And then as soon as they complete one, they're immediately on to the next one without, for example, reflecting on what they read, what they learned, without thinking, okay, where am I going to apply this? Without taking action on it or internalizing it. And they jump on to the next, and they already forgot the other book. But they do have the little ego boost check mark. Right? And that's what we also do. It's like more content, it's all surface. Like less content and more depth to that content.